Hi, it's Marilyn Price from the Mentor Project. I was just reading this book here. I picked it up just the other day. Actually, it's not true. I found it in my collection of books. Someone had given it to me on a long ago birthday. The book itself was compiled in 2013 to commemorate these amazing books. So for those of you who grew up in the era of golden books, and I think that's probably pretty much all of us, what a difference they made. So, today's program on the Mentor Project is really kind of simple as it gets. I'm going to introduce you to the subject of the Little Golden Books. They started in 1942, which was, for those of you who do history, the middle of a war. Things were sad and and expensive. So most children's books cost anywhere between $2 to $3. And when Simon and Schuster came up with the idea of publishing a series of children's books, wanting kids to have the books in their hands, as well as parents, of course, they thought that that was too much. So for the original proposal, they thought 50 cents. And then someone said, that's hard too. So the very first, in 1942, October was the date they came out, the little golden books were 25 cents. Truth told, I remember when they were 25 cents because they were accessible to me. They, of course, were in the libraries. And by, let me see my data here, 1947, they introduced them to the supermarkets. And there were 1,200 different supermarkets that had these little golden books. Their outstanding characteristic, besides the wonderful classic stories inside, were the gold edges. If it didn't have a gold edge, the Little Golden Book was not a golden book. So, my job today is not to just tell you a story, but to get you ready to listen to a series of stories as we walk through the Little Golden Books. They are still I should say most of them, of the original 12. I'll tell you what they are in a minute. Many of them are now in their seventh printing, and it takes a turn because it depends on when they copyright and when the author was alive or not alive. So some of the authors, of course, we already know. Margaret Wise Brown was a frequent author, and one of them was a classic that I'm going to tell to you. So, what I have picked for today, first I'd like to tell you the original 12. And allow me to stand up, go over here to my poster. They sent me a poster. I love posters. So, here we go. Of the original 12, see how many you can remember. Right up here is Three Little Kittens. You know those, lost their mittens. Okay. And then we have bedtime stories from A to Z. Right over here, they made the print pretty small for me. Was a we'll again do that one last. Then we have fairy tales, and then we have the Three Bears, and then we have the Little Red Hen, and there was a baby's book, and there was the Little Piggy. This Little Piggy. Now, my daddy used to do that with me. This Little Piggy went to market. You know that one. And let's see. Oh, Everybody Sings. These were the original 12 in 1942 of October. The first advertisement didn't go out until September 19th, 1942, announcing the arrival of the Little Golden Books only 2 weeks later. And then in February of 1943, after 5 months, there were 1.5 million copies sold, and they were in their third printing. The Disney family came into the picture in 1944, and by 1945, most of the original 12 were now in their seventh printing. So I got that a little bit wrong, and I'm okay about that. So things kind of went fast and forward. One of my favorite ones that I never saw and was fascinating to read about was a book called Dr. Dan the Bandage Man, and it was released in partnership with Johnson & Johnson Band-Aids. One Band-Aid glued to the title page was the first venture into book and product joint packaging. And the first printing of this one, are you ready? 1.5 million, the largest first printing of a little golden book. So these are amazing, and I hope you know some of them. And as you go through the history of the little golden books, you will find some oldies but goodies, and ones that I hope you not only know, but that you and I have read together. So, keeping that in mind, I thought just as a starting for us today, thinking about our next time together, when I'm going to tell you one of the very, very first ones, which is called The Pokey Little Puppy. An very sweet book. I'm going to wait to read that one from you because that one has some of my favorite repetitive lines. For those of you who love books that are remembered classics, remember the word classic. Why are they classic? Well, after 1942, they're still here. And they tell a story that is positively repeatable and interesting to kids. So here's a few. I'm going to show them to you and then read just a little piece. This one is called I'm a Bunny. Now, you may know Richard Scarry. He's very well known for introducing lots and lots of words in big books. I used to read them all the time to my little guys. But the opening page says, I am a bunny. Get to the point here, right? My name is Nicholas, and I live in a hollow tree. Place, time, setup. That's the way to read a book. Now, it's winter here. I can tell you that because it's snowing outside. But this is a story about the seashore, and it's called A Day at the Seashore. And it says, again, time, place, setting. Nancy and Timmy hop out of their beds as early can be. They put on their sunsuits and hurry downstairs and eat breakfast in 1, 2, and 3. So I want you to think and look for all those key things that make these stories memorable. Now, in all honesty, I didn't know this one, and it's so beautiful. The artists and the illustrators, extremely talented. This is by Jane Warner Watson, and it was illustrated by Eloise Wilkin, and it's called The Wonders of Nature. And what it does is it opens up our eyes through the eyes of our hero and heroine. Okay, this is just a little tiny piece. Isn't it a wonder the way the woods know that spring is coming before the snow is gone? The sleeping plants set up green shoots and the tree buds swell and burst. So, what makes a picture book even more important than just the words is that you know what's happening. If you can't read yet, you can tell that this little girl is looking carefully to see what's going on. Wonders of Nature. Oh, now this author you should know. Her name is Ruth Krauss, and she's done some fabulous stuff, especially with nature. This one, though, this is quite magical. It's called I Can Fly. I actually did just fly, but I had a plane. So she starts to tell all the ways she can fly. But this is my favorite expression because I like to think it's about me and you. After including us in her flying, she says, I'm merrier than a terrier. Little piece of poetry. Are you merrier than a terrier today? Oh, now, Margaret Wise Brown, we know Margaret Wise Brown. Goodnight Moon, Wait Till the Moon is Full, a myriad Willie stories, all sorts of wonderful books. She wrote well over 100, 200 children's stories. This one, printed by the Golden Books, is called Sailor Dog. Sailor Dog. Look at the illustrations. She also not always, I shouldn't say that. She worked with Garth Williams a lot. She worked with Garth Williams on Goodnight Moon. And you'll see and recognize his style, which is what makes these vibrant colors. Um, Born at sea in the teeth of a gale, the sailor was a dog. Scuppers was his name. And this is a story of the dog who lived on a farm but wanted to go to sea and how he gets there. So it's a great adventure story. Another oldie but very favorite, especially for those of you who like to cruise. This is called Scuffy the Tugboat and His Adventures Down the River. I think you'll like it, especially the opening. Talk about setting the scene. Are you ready? I'm going to show you. What does that say? Scuffy was sad. Scuffy was cross. Scuffy sniffed his blue smokestack. A toy store is no place for a red painted tugboat, said Scuffy, and he sniffed his blue smokestack again. I was meant for bigger things. The adventure is being set up by Scuffy. Whispering Rabbit. Now, this is such a sweet book. Again, another one by Margaret Wise Brown. And the way they created this book, I'll show you the way they've done it, is so that we know how to read it. Okay, they find a page for you that has both the quiet and the sad. Apparently, the story goes like this. I can't wait to tell you the whole story. It's really so sweet. And it's about a rabbit who apparently yawns with his mouth open. And while he's yawning, a bee flies into his mouth, and all he can do is whisper. So he goes for some advice. And of course he goes here. He goes to, why am I whispering? I haven't got to that part yet. He goes for advice to all of his wise friends who live in the forest, right? This one is to a squirrel. So look at this. You see it? Okay. He says to the squirrel, "What should I do?" He whispered to a squirrel who wasn't asleep. "Wake him up," said the squirrel. "Wake up the bumblebee." "Hmm?" whispered the rabbit. "All I can do is whisper, and I'm sleepy, and I want to go to sleep, and I don't want to sleep with a bumblebee." So what they've done is they've taken the print, and then the regular talking voice, it's in regular size print, but when you need to whisper to tell the story, it's a clue for the mamas and the papas and the readers how to tell this Whispering Rabbit by Margaret Wise Brown, who uses a different illustrator this time. You will like this story. I can't wait to tell that one to you too, but I do have to wait, right? Here's Tootle. Tootle is a train that is on far, far. Look, listen to this. Talk about time and place. Okay, feature this, right? Here it goes like this. Far, far to the west of everywhere is the village of Lower Train Switch. What could be more descriptive than that? Far, far. Oh, and of course, the word far is made really big. Far, far to the west of everywhere is the village of Lower Train Switch. Oh, I love my little golden books. Oh, this one is so beautiful. Especially if you like lions. I have a grandson who loves lions. Most beautiful cat. This one is called the Tawny Scrawny lion. So pretty. He's a tawny scrawny. Won't he be fun to make with yarn, right? Okay. Now, scrawny. How do you picture scrawny? Skinny? You'd be right. Okay, it goes like this. Once there was a tawny, scrawny, hungry lion who could never get enough to eat. He chased monkeys on Monday, kangaroos on Tuesday, zebras on Wednesday, bears on Thursday, camels on Friday, and on Saturday, elephants. And he always caught them. But he was really skinny. And he said, when I chase chocolate cake and I catch it, I'm not really skinny. good lessons in there. We'll listen to that one too. Oh, you think we're done? Not yet. This one I have told you, but I'm going to tell you again because it is one of my all-time favorites, even when I was a kid. It's called The Saggy Baggy Elephant Who Loved to Dance. And he could. The little elephants danced along, leaving wreckage behind him, until one day he met a parrot. "Why are you shaking the jungle all to pieces?" cried the parrot, who had never before seen an elephant. "What kind of animal are you anyway?" Saggy baggy elephant needs a little bit of ironing. Now this one I just discovered when I was looking for golden books. It's called Animal Jim. And here's the question. I think you might want to think about this, during PE, boys and girls, or any of you go work out. This book starts like this. "Things would be in an awful fuss if animals had Jim with us." Think about the possibilities, especially an elephant. Oh, for those of you who have cats, Katie the kitten. Isn't she sweet? What is it about Katie the kitten? Katie the kitten, a small tiger cat, is asleep in the hall in a ball in a hat. Rhyme, place. We know where she is. We know how she sleeps. The next time you walk into the hall and you see a kitten curled up in a ball, you're going to think of Katie, even if your cat's name is Fido. That would be kind of a silly name for a cat, right? Oh, Three Bears. Everybody knows the Three Bears. Everybody. And that is an oldie, really an oldie but a goodie, not just from this classic. So they don't even tell you who wrote it. They just tell you who illustrated it. And they are beautiful pictures put in picture frames. And you know how it begins. Once upon a time, there were three bears, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. So we'll meet them, of course, because gotta tell an oldie but goodie like that. And then there's this one called The Blue Book of Fairy Tales. So I thought I knew every single fairy tale. Well, that's not true. I thought I knew a whole lot of them. But in the back of this book, I found one that I look forward to telling you too. It's called Toads and Diamonds. It's kind of like other ones too. There's siblings. One is more beautiful than the other one, blah, blah, blah. And mother was jealous. Goes on and on and on. But we're going to figure it out. It's a little bit Cinderella-ish, but not really. So that is called The Blue Book of Fairy Tales. But now, all of them, again, I repeat, have these gold edges. And they're fun. I remember as a kid, I would just, because they're nice and smooth, rub my hands up and down. It's very comforting. Okay. All right. Now, the next time we gather, and you may not be there right away, but you might come back to it, we're going to tell the pokey little puppy. Now, think of his name. Is he the fast puppy? No. Is he goes along just as he is puppy? No, he's pokey. He's pokey, never gets to anywhere. And you'll see why when we tell the story together. But I thought maybe just before we introduce you to the pokey little puppy, which is in the first 12 books and has sold more books than any other. These are called one-story books. Than any in 2000, I think it was in 2015 or so, they discovered that the pokey little puppy had sold 15 million copies. That's a lot of books. That's more books than I have in my bookshelf. How about you? So let me just you think about making a little pokey puppy of your own, and I'll repeat it. But so here we have a pair of socks, and my puppy is not going to be called Pokey Little Puppy. They don't have names. He's just a Pokey Little Puppy. So what I'm going to do is put this sock on my hand, which is great on a wintry day, and then I'm going to open it up like that. Just because it might slip off, we're going to take a rubber band, put it like that. Now, I don't know exactly how this will work. I think it will because I've done it before. We're going to give him some eyes. Just like that. There he is, those eyes. Woof. Oh, but he needs ears. So what I want you to do is to take another sock. No socks will be heard in the making of this puppet. Just put it over there like that. Okay, it's got ears. He's a floppy little pokey puppy. And we, of course, could do a variety of different things, but because we want to introduce you to the pokey puppy, we're going to do it the fastest possible way. And we are going to use Scotch tape. I love Scotch tape. I love Scotch tape because it doesn't require anything to dry. I think what I will do, though, is make it look just a little bit tidier by taking that tape and making as if our puppy had, oh, there you go. There he goes. He goes like that. He's got ears. You like him? You want him a little bit farther up? Oh, you're awfully cute, Argyle. That's his name, Argyle. Did I tell you that? Argyle is our puppy. He is going to play the part of the pokey little puppy. So let me just introduce you to the concept of the pokey little puppy. This amazing book. Tell you who it was written by, too, because that seems only fair. This little book, and I looked it up, and she didn't write a whole lot else. Jeanette Sebring Lowry, illustrated by Gustav Tenggren. And here they are, but I want you to look carefully. How many puppies do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. But you know how many are in the story? 5. Okay, so here's what happens. Just a piece. Would you like to be my pokey puppy? Woof. Woof, woof. Not arf. Woof, woof, arf. Okay, that's good. Okay. 5 little puppies dug a hole under the fence and went for a walk in the wide, wide world. Through the mountain they went, down the road, over the bridge, across the green grass, and up the hill, one ride after the other. And when they got to the top of the hill, they counted themselves. 1, 2, 3, 4. One little puppy wasn't there. Now, where in the world is that pokey little puppy, they wondered, for he certainly wasn't on the top of the hill. And he wasn't going down the other side. The only thing they could see was a fuzzy caterpillar. He also wasn't coming up this side. The only thing they could see coming up was a quick green lizard. And they looked down the grassy place near the bottom of the hill. There he was, running round and round, his nose to the ground. Now, I read you that part because it is repeated 3 times in the story. And that's what happens in stories. The Pokey Little Puppy, this classic story about puppies, mischief, and smart mamas, could be one of my favorites. So, ladies, gentlemen, people of all ages and kinds, this is an amazing collection of stories, and we're going to have such a good time when you come to my library. And if you have a golden book out there that you really like and you'd like me to tell it or help you make a puppet, just send me a note. I'll be so excited to do it. I've already got one request from a really dear friend, and I found the book, even though it is out of print, because this is a magical time. So Marilyn Price and the Mentor Project want to introduce you so very happily to the little golden books and my trip down memory lane. And it was a good day to go there too, because it was cold and snowy and slippery. So what did I do? I got together with my, oh my goodness, look at all this pile, golden books. Oh, and I read and I learned stuff. Because, by the way, when you read or are read to, you learn so very many things. I thank you for coming my way, and I want to whisper the following message to you. Some things should be whispered, but some things should be said out loud. And one of them is, I hope that you are living happily ever